everybody. Welcome back in to Ben Talks Utah Hockey. Coming at you with a little bit of a different episode today. Not so different, but I'm going to get into the pregame matchups between the Ducks and the Stars. Utah's playing in a back-to-back here, starting on the 22nd and playing the 23rd as well. So we're going to get into it. Utah's coming into this homestand, and I just wanted to do a couple of quick hits for both matchups, get them both done in one. That way I'm not struggling to get 2 episodes out in the next 2 days. So going to jump right into it. They're playing the Anaheim Ducks on the 22nd, first game of the back-to-back. The Ducks are 3-2 in their last 5 games, most recently coming off a loss to the Colorado Avalanche, and their record sits at 12, 15, and 4. They're sitting in the 7th place position in the Pacific Division of the Western Conference with 28 points, just above the Sharks, who have 27, and just below the Kraken, who are sitting with 32 points. They've got Sorry. Keep forgetting to turn my phone off when I do these episodes. But getting back into it, they have 2 really solid goaltenders in Lucas Dostal and John Gibson. Dostal is sitting at a 7-8-3 record with a .920 save percentage on the year, and he's the typical starter for the Ducks, starting in 18 of their 29 games thus far. Gibson is 5-5-1 over 11 games started, and he's got a .906 save percentage. So I'm not sure who's going to get the start for Anaheim on this one, but either way, they're putting in a solid goaltender for the matchup. Their top scorer is Troy Terry with 9 goals, 16 assists for 25 points, with Frank Vetrano second on the team with 9 goals, 8 assists for 17 points. The Ducks, they recently made a splash in the trade market, acquiring Jacob Trouba from the New York Rangers in a deal where they send the captain in Trouba to the Ducks to get rid of some cap space. And yeah, New York has had and their media market's not that friendly, and they've really had kind of a cluster this season, and there's a lot of panic in the New York Rangers organization. So they shipped Trouba off, and yeah, they've made some recent trades this past week. So they're looking to get rid of a bunch of guys, and Trouba ends up coming over to Anaheim. So look for Trouba and the Ducks captain Radko Gudas to play a physical game for Anaheim in this one. Both defenders. They're both physical defenders. And since they are last in the league with 32nd in goals scored this year with a total of 75, they haven't been putting up goals this year. They're in the middle of the pack with goals against at 95, but that leaves them with a negative goal differential of -20 on the campaign. So they're scoring a lot less than they're getting scored on. They rely on their physicality and defense to win them games, and they have one injury that I'm going to get into right now. Trevor Zegras. He was a former first-round, number 9 overall draft pick for the Ducks, and he's out with a torn meniscus that had to be operated on. I believe he had 4 goals and 6 assists up to this point in the season. But yeah, they just haven't had a ton of offensive production this year. So my prediction for this game, I think it's going to be a physical game with the Ducks trying to pressure on the defensive side and get good goaltending as they don't put up a ton of goals. Like I said, if Utah can jump out to a quick start, get that first goal, look for Utah to try to put the game away early on and stifle the Ducks with their own defense that has been playing well of late over their last 10 games. For Utah, we'll likely see Stauber in net for either this one or the one against Dallas. I'm not sure what Andre Turney's thinking in terms of who's going to get that start, but if I had to bet, I think Stauber might get the start versus the Ducks and Vejmelka versus the Stars. So we'll see. That remains to be seen. But if Stauber can get his third win on the year, that'll just be huge for Utah. He's not seeing a ton of action. They've been riding Karel Vejmelka. But I think if Utah can get some goals like they've been getting that goal production from their top two lines. If they can get some goal production and play a solid defensive game, they're going to be looking good against the Ducks. So betting odds right now, I just checked. Utah's minus 179, so they're the favorite, and the Ducks are plus 144. So Utah's the favorite in this game, at least in terms of betting odds. And I think I favor them as well to get this win versus the Ducks. So next game in the back-to-back. So on Monday night, they're going to be playing the Dallas Stars. The Stars come in with a 19-13-0 record, sitting at fourth in the Central Division. So just above Utah in the standings. And getting the majority of the starts for the Stars in net has been Jake Ottinger. He's posted a 16-9-0 record on the season thus far, with a 910 save percentage and a 2.42 goals against average. So very similar, very, very similar numbers to Karel Vejmelka. Ottinger's been playing well. He does have a better record, but his percentage numbers and his goals against numbers are almost identical to Karel Vejmelka's. So their backup, Casey DeSmith, has also had a decent start to the campaign with a 3-4-0 record, but I would say Ottinger is going to get the start in Utah, as Dallas will be coming into Salt Lake off of a few game rests after their recent homestand. They're coming off a loss to the New York Rangers last night, and yeah, they're going to have a couple of days rest here before they play Utah. So a couple of players to look out for is Matt Duchene. He's their points leader with 30 points. Marchment is at a close second with 27 points. These are guys that are in their early 30s and they're NHL vets. They've been to the playoffs the last couple of years, and they know how to win games for their team. So I would think at this point, Dallas are going to be the favorites coming into this road matchup just based off of power rankings. And I haven't looked at the betting odds for this game. I don't think they're out yet. But they do have a couple of solid lines of forwards, some veteran defensemen, couple of other players to mention, Jason Robertson, Tyler Seguin, Jamie Benn, Logan Stankoven. Stankoven, he gets an honorable mention for me in this because he's in his second year in the league. His first full season, but his second year. So he's basically a rookie. And he's been playing well and putting up some points for Dallas. So they've got a really solid group of forwards, a good top two lines. I think their top two lines are pretty much interchangeable for that top line spot. I mean, you could put either one of them out there and they're gonna play pretty well. So those top two lines of forwards are solid, and they've got some veteran defensemen that are gonna help Ottinger out in the net. They're 13th in the league in goals for with 101 and second in the league with goals against. So they've got a plus 18 goal differential, which means they're scoring a lot more than they are letting goals into the net. So they've been playing solid defense in front of Ottinger this season, and that's partially what's helped his numbers, I think, too, is they put up the points for him. And I think that they have the advantage coming into this game with fresh legs, off a few days rest, as Utah will be playing the second game of a back-to-back, albeit it is at home, but usually teams don't have a good winning percentage in that second game on a back-to-back. We did see Utah win 2 in a row, back-to-back on the road, I think last week or the week before, when they played Buffalo and Philly in consecutive nights, notching 4 points in the win column. But I do think these two matchups coming up next at home will be a little bit more difficult to win, both of them. So if I had to bet on it, I'm not a betting man, but if I had to bet on it, I can see Utah coming away with at least 2 points on this homestand. Look for the Dallas game to be a close one. I think much like the last game versus Minnesota last night. I think it's going to be a 1 to 2 goal difference in that game, with both teams kind of keeping it tight. But I do see Dallas as the favorite in that game. I'd love to be proven wrong, but just kind of looking at the numbers here, that's kind of what they're telling me. So some players to watch for Utah in both these matchups. They're the usual cast of characters. I talk about them a lot. Dylan Gunther, he's got 16 goals, 32 points for the lead on Utah. Clayton Keller, he's right behind him with 31 points, and Logan Cooley right behind him with 29 points. Those guys have been putting up great numbers, especially in the last 5. They've been great on the power play, and we have seen Utah play a good penalty kill as well in the last couple of games. So all those 3 guys, they've been solid for Utah. Really exciting to watch those guys. I say it seemingly every night. Yeah, they've just been really solid. Look for Utah to try to stay out of the box. I know that I repeat this almost every pregame episode, but it's a big factor for Utah, even though the penalty kill has been playing well as of late. Got to stay out of the box. Got to not take those bad penalties that they seem to take every game. They seem to take a couple of bad penalties every game. So look for a team like Dallas, especially, to capitalize on that if Utah's going to be sitting in the box. And I think that Andre Turney, he's going to split the goaltenders. Not sure which matchups he's going to have them in, but if I had to guess, I would say I think Stauber might get the start versus the Ducks. Again, I'm not sure, but I think Stauber might go in versus the Ducks, and Karel Vejmelka is going to see action against the Stars. But yeah, that'd be my guess for who gets the start in net. But again, I'm not sure. Either way, both guys are going to get starts this weekend. I can almost bet on that with 100% certainty, as Andre Turney did say something about that in one of his press conferences earlier this week. So both guys should see some action. But either way, I think that's going to wrap it up for this little pregame episode for both these matchups. A little bit of a quick hitter here, but I did just want to get something put out so you guys had something to listen to before these next 2 games. So hopefully Utah can play a solid homestand here at the Delta Center, and hopefully Utah fans can pack the place out again for these 2 matchups. And with Utah coming in, playing really hot as of late, and especially in their last 10, yeah, hopefully Utah can come away with 4 points in the win column. I especially see that Dallas game as being tough, but you can't overlook the Ducks either. Every night's a battle in the NHL, especially in these conference matchups, Western Conference matchups. These are important points. I'll say it once, I'll say it 100 times. Especially in the Western Conference, you got to get points in these games, and Utah players know this. The fans, you know this. These are big matchups coming up. You can't overlook anybody, regardless of where they're sitting in the standings. You cannot overlook anybody in this league. So, hit me up with your questions. You can email me at bentalksutahhockey@gmail.com. You can find me on X at bentalksutahhc. You can like, subscribe, comment. You can follow me on YouTube. I did see I got a couple of recent subscribers on YouTube, so thank you. If you're listening on YouTube, you can find me on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Amazon Music, basically almost anywhere you can find a podcast right now. So get involved, interact with me a little bit, send me a comment. Write me a review, whatever you can do to interact with the show, that helps me out a ton. So I do appreciate you listening, and we'll see you. We'll see. I'm not sure if I'm going to do a post game after the second game versus the Stars, or if I'm going to do one both nights back to back for me. So we'll see. That is yet to be determined, kind of with my schedule and what's going on this weekend. But look for some episodes coming out soon. I feel like I've been putting out an episode every day, every other day type of schedules. So keep looking for episodes. If you do listen on any of those platforms, subscribe and follow and hit the notification bell. It'll let you know that, hey, Ben's got an episode coming out, and you can take a listen when it's at your earliest convenience. So I'd really appreciate that. But that's going to wrap it up. If you have any questions, send them in, and I will get to those in the post games. So I appreciate you listening. This has Ben Talks Utah Hockey, and we'll see you on the next one.